YouTube, it's Prachel with Fearless Vixen, and today we're going to talk about some of the books that changed my life and helped me to raise my vibration to where I'm at now, where I'm just a lot more centered, a lot more emotionally imbalanced and happier and clear. So if you're new to Fearless Vixen, that's what this channel is all about. And that's what my company, Fearless Vixen, is all about, is helping women to raise their vibe and level up so that they can get whatever it is that they want. So if you're interested in this type of content, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I will be releasing videos about every week and going live once a week as well. So without much further ado, let's get started. I have a lot of books to cover. And this might be a little bit of a longer video, but I wanted to make sure that I went into some type of detail about every single one because they're very near and dear to my heart. And then at the end, there's going to be one that you do not expect. Actually, there's like 2 or 3 that you probably won't expect, but I'll explain why I chose these for this particular list. So let's get started. First one is Violet Flame. This one is by Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Her and her husband started writing books to help people to raise their vibration. They wrote about the Ascended Masters. They write about creative spirituality, practical spirituality. This book in particular, Violet Flame, is so good. I forgot. I think I got this one from the Bodhi Tree in LA. I think that's where that came from. There used to be a spiritual metaphysical bookstore in LA called the Bodhi Tree. And I think that's where I picked this one up. Matter of fact, I did. Yeah, it still has a label on the back. So it was $7. I'm not sure if it's on Amazon. I will post a link if it is. But the reason why I like this one so much is because it gives you an idea on how to transmute karma, which means how to balance your karma. And there are some affirmations in there. Let me see if I remember the one. Here we go. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame, to light alone I bow. I am the violet flame in mighty cosmic power. I am the light of God, shining every hour. I am the violet flame, blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power, freeing everyone. You got to get this book if you don't have it. Violet Flame by Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Again, I will list this in the description below so that you can pick it up. The next one is How to Find the Work You Love by Lawrence Bolt. That's B-O-L-D-T. This one, I have recommended this book so many times, just like I have the Violet Flame, but this one is just like right on the money. What I love about this one is that it goes into practical guidance on how to find work that makes your heart sing. And I know that sounds cliche. I know that sounds, woo-woo or whatever, but it's true. Like, don't you want to work in a place or an environment where you want to be there, where you get excited about being there every day, where it, pushes you out of bed in the morning? You're so excited to get up and go to work. I'm serious. Like you can have that. You can have that life, and don't think that you can't. Just because others, may not be enjoying that doesn't mean that you shouldn't. So this one goes into practical detail about creative freedom and are you listening to your intuition? The call of your soul. Basically, your soul is calling out. Your soul is basically telling you, I'm ready to evolve and I'm ready to move on. Let's get it started. Are you suppressing that? Are you repressing it? Are you oppressing it? So this book is so great at, it's like a coach. It's like coaching you to find the work that stirs you and that just makes you so full of joy and happiness. And this is the book that you want to get if you want to feel like that. So that one's a good one. The next one, oh my gosh, you're going to hear me say that a lot. Here's a story on how your mind can keep you well, by Roy Masters. My mother has had a copy of this book since either the late 70s or the early 80s. And the reason I know is because I remember being little, like 4 or 5 years old, and my mom went to go see Roy Masters at one of his seminars somewhere in the LA area. I grew up in Southern California. So somewhere in the LA area she went. And she says that I wasn't there, but I remember being there. And I remember my mom having an experience at that particular seminar, and it changed her life spiritually forever. So this is my copy, and I just got this. I read How Your Mind Can Keep You Well when I was like in junior high school because it was always on the bookshelf at home. So I read that when I was really little. It's a book on meditation. It's a book on getting clear. And it was written, I believe he wrote like the first version in the 60s. And obviously it's been updated since then, but grab a copy of this. I just got mine off of Amazon. I want to say that it was like $7 or $8. It wasn't that much. So grab a copy of How Your Mind Can Keep You Well by Roy Masters and dig into this. This will help you to feel a lot more balanced and a lot more clear. And it will also propel your meditations into no man's land. When you read this book, oh my God, your life is just going to open up. So How Your Mind Can Keep You Well, Roy Masters is another one. This one doesn't really need too much of an explanation. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I went to go see her when she was doing a book signing in DC, and she packed the whole place. Gosh, this one, the story's been told time and time and time again, from the beginning of time, how to use your mind to help you to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve in life. And this is no stranger to that bloodline of thinking. However, how she presents her story and how she went from a broke 40-something-year-old to a very rich and wealthy in spirit, wealthy in mind, wealthy in heart, wealthy in prosperity, how she went from that to that. She's awesome. She's amazing. And she has such the tone that she writes in is like big sister tone. So I listened to this book first. I had the Audible version first, and then I went out and got my own copy. And I also have You Are a Badass at Making Money. Those two go hand in hand. Excellent read, very easy to read. You can get through this book pretty quickly because it's a page turner. And she also gives actionable tips as well on how to be a badass. So pick up that book too. Now, this one might surprise you. And the reason why is because it's a book about a very horrific and tragic time in world history. Okay, not just American history, but world history. But look how thin it is. Okay. Dr. Joy Degree, I believe that's how you pronounce her last name. I learned about her 10 years ago, maybe 10 or 11 years ago. Someone had given me a CD with one of the speeches that she had did, and it blew my mind when she talks about the condition that some of us that were descendants of enslaved people, the condition that some of us are in. I don't want to say all of us, but some of us are in mentally and spiritually, and not feeling like we can't move forward and not getting things done that we want to get done in life. This book actually is so helpful in learning about our attitudes and our behaviors and where they've come from and where they evolved from. I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your gender is. You need to read this book. I mean, this will help you to understand a lot of the racial tensions in not only American society, but in the world. America, the United States of America, had the worst version, not that to say that any version is good, but they had the absolute worst version of slavery, where you could actually own if you enslave someone, you could own their children and their children's children and down the bloodline, and you were never able to get free. Now, granted, obviously, some enslaved people purchased their freedom. Some enslavers allowed their enslaved people to be free from bondage upon passing. I mean, you hear stories, but you've got to grab this one. This will help to raise your vibration, because once you're able to name the monster, you can slay the monster. And I know you've probably heard that before, but this names the monster. This names why a lot of us are thinking the way that we think and feel the way they feel and act the way that we act, is because of this. And this is what she coined post-traumatic slave syndrome. This book is heavy. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. There's some very disturbing events that she writes about in this book. But I'm telling you, if you read it, you're going to be like, oh my God, I never knew that. I'm not even going to go into some of the examples that she gives, because I don't want to muck them up. I haven't read this book in about 6 months, and I have some things in here. I have some things in here highlighted. But get it. Grab a copy of Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy. Louise Hay. Do I need to say anything else? Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. She wrote this book again. A lot of these are like classics. She wrote this one, I want to say in the 60s or the 70s. Let's see. So it says copyright 1999, but I know that this might have been an updated version. Okay, here we go. 1984. Yeah, 1987. So I think the original published was 1984. But this book is about ailments, physical ailments, and the spiritual causes behind them. So to give you an example, like she writes about the condition of diabetes, and looking at diabetes and looking at what it is spiritually. The way she breaks it down is that person is missing the sweetness of life. It's beautiful, and it helps to, again, just like post-traumatic slave syndrome, it helps you to identify, or at least be able to illuminate some of the spiritual issues behind physical ailments. Brilliant. Dr. Louise Hay, she is the one that created Hay House Publishing. So you want to grab a copy of this as well. Okay, I'm going to skip this one actually, because I want to go to, you cannot have a spiritual book list and not have Queen Afua in there somewhere. I got this book a long time ago. I want to say I got this one 2002, 2001. I have to see when it was actually published. I want to say it was let's see. It was published in 1994, and the first hardcover was 2000. First paperback was 2001. This is a paperback, so this was 2001. Queen Afua is a master at holistic living. And again, these are not huge books. This is a book where you can thumb through it, and I didn't read this book cover to cover. What I did was I got it and I just went immediately to what I was interested in. She goes into how to cleanse your wound, how to heal old wounds, and how to feel more light. So she's big on doing these very comprehensive total body cleanses for your health and wellness. And she's a mind, body, spirit type of writer. So again, this is a staple. I refer to this book so much when I've got stuff going on. Hey, I've got stuff going on just like everybody else, mentally, physically, spiritually. I've always got stuff going on. So I refer back to this one time and time again. I mean, she has things like doing a sun bath and all kinds of doing clay pack cleansings, all kinds of good stuff in here. So I would definitely recommend Sacred Woman by Queen Afua as part of your spiritual journey. I think you know what's coming next. Now, I don't have the actual physical copy of Think and Grow Rich, but I think I have that on Audible. But I do have the workbook, and let me tell you, it is so helpful to get your goals, to get your dreams, to get whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. It's so helpful to get them down on paper. And sometimes like Notepad just doesn't work for me. I want like some type of guidance. So that's why I have the Think and Grow Rich workbook. I have mine all filled in. Mine is all filled in. So get a copy of this. Again, this one was $20 and you can grab this on Amazon, and I'll make sure that I put the link below. Okay, the last two books are not what you would consider to be self-help books, but I'm really big on your vibration. I always say this, like, spirituality doesn't have to be all lotus flowers and yoga mats, right? Spirituality can be fun. It could be sexy. It could be enjoyable in ways that feel kind of secular, feel kind of the world. And one of the ways that I increase my vibration is through looking at art. I love art. I have been involved in art and collecting art for since like 2004, 2005, somewhere around there. I collected my first piece of art, and I just kept growing my collection from there. Art makes me feel good. Viewing art makes me feel amazing, actually, which is one of the reasons why I'm relocating to Europe, just because I want it to be immersed in more culture, more art, more, and also the proximity to Africa and different African countries. So all that to say, the next book that I would definitely recommend, and I recommend it because of the cover. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. I don't know if you can see. I have a light, so let's see if I can get it without the light. The new Black Vanguard by Antoine Sargent. This is mostly it's a photography book. Okay. And the images in here are gorgeous, and they're striking, and they're lovely, and they make you think. That's the cover. I have to see who she is. She's beautiful. Anyway, this book, you know, if you like art, if you love pretty, colorful things, I'm a big proponent of making sure that your space is high vibration, because that's where you live. You live in your body, but you live in your home. So your space needs to be as high vibration as possible. I keep art books around. I keep art around. I have different sculptures, paintings, all kinds of different pieces of art, just because it makes me feel good. So raising your vibration doesn't always mean that you got to get so spiritual that you forget there are things that you enjoy. I keep things like incense, sage, okay, just pretty things around. Let me see if I can show you things like this. I keep stuff like this around just because I think that art and feeling just go hand in hand. So the very last book, I just got 2 copies of this. I've been waiting for this artist to release this book all of 2020, and we know what happened with 2020. So the release had been pushed back, and as soon as she announced that the book was ready to be purchased, it just went and bought 2 copies. I didn't care how much it was going to cost. And I hope that I'm pronouncing her name correctly, because I've seen her interviews. I just don't think I've ever heard her say her name, but her name is Lena Iris Victor. Man, some are born to an endless night. I shouldn't be holding this book. You can't see it, but it has this really gorgeous black, some type of fabric textile cover on it. But Some Are Born to an Endless Night, Dark Matter is the name of the book. But when you open it, and I'll tell you why I chose this one, she has the most striking images in here. And look at that. I'm not going to show you much more of it because you have to get it yourself. I don't want to thumb through it, and I'm actually trying to keep it as new as possible. So I'm waiting to move so I can actually thumb through each and every one, because I've only looked at a few pages, and it's one of the kind of books that you're scared to open. But I want to tell you why I chose that one. In addition to the fact that I love art, I love her philosophy on the color black and darkness. And although I'm not big on doing shadow work myself, I do, and I can understand why you would want to go into the darkness to retrieve parts and pieces of yourself that you may have repressed or suppressed, left behind in some way, and you need to put yourself back together and reassemble yourself. So I hope that doesn't go over your head, but the way that she looks at darkness is a darkness is a healing energy. Whereas when we were growing up, we watched horror movies and we, heard about the color black, and black is depressing and it's morbid and, this and that. Well, what does that say about our skin tone? Okay, so I knew that there's something that wasn't right about that. And to me, I feel like darkness and the color black and all things dark, we shouldn't judge it. Darkness can be very healing. And I know that because every single year we go into a period of darkness, and that's called winter. That's when the days get shorter, so there's more night. And it's a time for healing, and it's time for reflection and introspection and personal growth. So the way that she looks at darkness is in a very positive light, and she uses that in her imagery. I really do think that, I don't know how much her work goes for now. I haven't collected any of her pieces yet, but I do know that, her being such a beautiful and prolific artist, that she's going to be in the millions, if she's not already there, very, very soon. So those are my recommendations for increasing your vibration, raising your vibe. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your gender is. You could benefit from all of these. And I'll do another video on some more. I have so many books. These are not the only ones that have helped to change my vibration and have leveled me up. There's several more as well. So I'll continue this series. If you like it, please leave a comment below. But this has been Prachel with Fearless Vixen. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.